Hey guys, how do you compete in a multiple offer situation? I have Viv Kay Nguyen today with me, and we're gonna pick her brain. And so make sure you stay to the end, and let's jump right in.
I'm Viv Kay Nguyen. I'm a real estate broker in Houston, Texas, and I just want to talk to you about how to win in a multiple offer situation. So the first thing you want to do when you submit an offer in a multiple offer situation is make sure that it's complete, make sure it's professional looking, there aren't any blank spaces, everything's filled out correctly, and you have the offer summary preferably on the first page and a pre-approval attached to the offer. Make sure it looks legitimate and all the applicable addenda just attached to it, because first impressions are everything, and the listing agent has a lot of say over which offer to advise their clients, sort of push it onto their clients to accept. And you want to make sure that you come across as professional and a serious buyer, and that the lender you choose can also back you up. You want to make sure that the lender is a strong lender, someone that's reputable and local and can actually vouch for you as a strong buyer. You also want to make sure that you give the listing agent a call before you submit the offer, just to sort of get an understanding of the situation, such as why they're selling, if they're willing to disclose that. You want to see how motivated they are, so you have an understanding of how competitive you have to be with your offer.
How does the listing agent then tell her client or clients which offer do we accept? What do they look at?
They will advise them, such as they can say, this offer looks more legitimate, this is a strong lender, they have a smaller chance of falling through, the financing falling through, and they can advise their clients, this agent seems to know what they're doing, it's a serious offer. They can actually push for that to be accepted. The second top strategy I use when competing in a multiple offer situation is you want to make sure that all the terms are competitive, and this doesn't always mean having a higher sales price. Sometimes your buyers can't afford to go above list price, or they're not willing to. One way that you can make your offer more competitive without offering a higher sales price is you can increase the option fee, you can increase the earnest money and offer more additional earnest money. You can also offer to pay for the title and survey, which would actually add to the buyer's closing costs. So you want to make sure that your buyer is actually comfortable with that. Of course, this is all dependent on your buyer's finances and what they're comfortable with offering and how competitive they want to be, and what they're willing to, are they willing to risk losing the property? So mainly it comes down to how bad they want the property. But another way you can make it more competitive is you can offer a more appealing close date to the seller. And this doesn't always mean closing faster. Sometimes the seller may need more time to move out. Maybe they want their children to be able to finish school, before they sell the property. So communication is key when you're negotiating a contract. You want to talk to the listing agent if possible about the seller's situation and ask them what do they prefer as far as the close date and all the other terms. You can also remove concessions. You don't want to ask for too much in a competitive situation. So asking for the extra appliances, or for the seller to pay for a home warranty, asking the seller to contribute to closing costs, you may want to remove those items. And also, if you're able to, you can remove contingencies, because contingencies will put you at a disadvantage in a multiple offer situation.
And with the survey and the title policy, I mean, that is normally that, and over here we have the sellers paying for. How often do you actually do that on the contracts where you have the buyers do that, pay for it?
So I've seen situations where buyers have offered to pay for the title costs and also the survey, and that's just to make their offer more attractive without actually increasing the sales price, because sometimes increasing the sales price can put you at risk for the appraisal not coming through. So if you're increasing the sales price too high, the property may not appraise. So instead of increasing the sales price, I've seen buyers just offer to pay for the title costs.
For some of the people watching this that are first-time home buyers, the earnest money, how much is that, and why do you think that increasing the earnest money amount would be seen in the seller's side eyes as a better, stronger offer?
Earnest money is typically 1% of the purchase price that you're offering. And what that is it's a deposit that you put down upon acceptance of the contract. And that's to show the seller that it is a serious offer. And once you pass up the option period, which is normally 7 to 10 days, and that's also negotiable, the earnest money is no longer refundable to the buyer if they terminate the contract after the option fee. This is not considering the contingencies that will allow you to terminate the contract and get your earnest money back. But what that does is you're showing the seller that you have no intention on backing out. So the more money you're willing to put down in earnest money, the more serious it is and the less likely you are to back out in the eyes of the seller.
Great, great. That's good information. What do you have a story with this, perhaps, that we can add to, so we can share with the viewers?
Yes. So I've had a family that put in an offer on a property in a very competitive market. What we had to do was we had to remove the sales contingency because they were planning on selling their current home before closing on the new home. So that way we were able to remove the sales contingency and make it more appealing to the seller. And because of that, we actually won the offer.
And with the sales contingencies, you know, we want to make sure that when they start the process, when they're just looking at four houses with you, that when they go through the pre-approval process, they want to make sure that they can qualify, right? Because the only thing with, you know, making sure with the contingency like that and removing it is that they actually qualify to hold 2 mortgage payments at the same time. And a lot of clients do, you know, so that of course would be definitely a better, stronger deal, stronger offer.
The third strategy I use when competing in a multiple offer situation is you want to appeal to the seller's emotions, because although this is a business transaction and probably the largest financial transaction in most people's lives, it is also an emotional purchase, especially for the sellers, because they normally have an emotional attachment to their home. So it's not always about who's willing to pay more. Sometimes you want to get personal, and I would recommend writing a letter to the seller, just introducing yourself, your situation, why you're looking to move to the area, what you love about the area, and what you love about their property. I would suggest using flattery, you know, just listing the things that you love about the house and why you really want this property in particular. And try to relate to the seller when possible. If you notice, you know, pictures of them and they attended a certain college and you attended the same college, you can use that to relate to them. It is not always about, you know, who has the highest offer, although, you know, in some cases it is just about the bottom line, especially if you're dealing with an owner that's an investor.
Any way we can relate to the sellers, right, and say, hey, you know, we really love your house and we're going to take great care of it. I think that goes a long way. Absolutely. Do you have any particular situation you can think of right now where, you know, presenting that kind of situation and scenario and a strong offer and a letter to the sellers, telling them how much you love the property, any particular situation that you can share with us today where you got some amazing feedback and the listing agent saying, this is like literally the reason why you're getting the offer accepted, even though the other contractor offer might have been a couple grand higher, but we chose to go with you guys, you know? Do you have anything like that you can share with us?
Yes, so I have a couple that they were newlyweds, and they were looking for their first, you know, starter home to build their future together in and build memories in. And they wrote a letter to the seller. It was a very touching letter. And you know, the listing agent called me back, and she said that their offer wasn't the highest, but the seller was very deeply touched by their letter, and that she would have to sleep on it, you know, overnight and try to come to a decision, because her other offer that she received was significantly higher in sales price. But ultimately she called us back and she said that she would accept their offer because they seem like such a nice family.
It's very important to be human and make that connection, because it goes such a long way.
I also want to add that you know, the most important thing is to prepare to be emotionally prepared to lose in a multiple offer situation. Sometimes there are situations when you know, you may be the highest offer, your agent is doing everything correctly, but you can still lose just for different reasons. But be emotionally prepared and don't give up and don't be disheartened. What you can also do is when you lose, you can ask the listing agent if they're willing to sign a backup offer. And what that is they would agree and have the seller sign your offer, which would take effect if their other accepted offer were to fall through or to terminate for any reason. Your backup offer would then be immediately effective. Now, this puts the buyer in control because you already have this backup offer secured, but the buyer can still shop around for other homes. And if they were to find another property that they liked better and they were able to get an offer accepted on a different property, they could actually go back and terminate the backup offer before it takes effect. So that puts the buyer in control. The seller cannot terminate the backup offer after they sign it.
And with the backup offer, do they put down earnest money?
Yes, and that's negotiable as well.
That's yeah, perfect. No, I think that's great. And you're absolutely correct. In this market, I mean, I have many clients I work with as well, where, you know, it's 5, 10 homes, properties later, and they didn't win, you know, so just hang in there, right? It's be ready for a bumpy ride, and everything happens for a reason. So I'm sure the right house is always out for them. And you just have to be patient and trust your realtor, you know, trust the professional team you're working with. And yeah, that's good information. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you, Peter.
So if you want to reach out to Viv, of course, her contact information will be listed in the video over here and also in the description. But where can they reach you?
I am the designated broker of Kay & Company. It's a Houston-based real estate brokerage. You can contact me by phone, email, or visit my website. You can also visit my business, my Facebook business page.
Thank you so much for visiting, and you guys make sure you subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe if you find this information helpful, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.